So, let's get right into it. India is making this absolutely massive bet on what could be the fuel of the future, something that could completely reshape its entire energy landscape. We're talking about the National Green Hydrogen Mission, a seriously ambitious plan to turn India into a global powerhouse for clean energy.
And to really get a feel for how revolutionary this is, let's start with probably the coolest example, India's very first hydrogen-powered train. No, this isn't some far-off science fiction concept. This is happening right now.
You heard that right. Just imagine a train that is, for all intents and purposes, powered by water. I know it sounds impossible, but that's the magic of this technology. It takes in hydrogen, mixes it with oxygen from the air, and the only thing that comes out of its exhaust is pure water vapor. No smoke, no carbon, just steam.
And this isn't just an idea on a drawing board. Things are moving fast. It's being developed down in Chennai, and this train is a critical piece of the puzzle for Indian Railways' huge goal of hitting net zero emissions by 2030. In fact, they're planning its very first test run from March 2025 on a 90-kilometer stretch between Jind and Sonipat.
Now, a project this big doesn't just appear out of thin air. The hydrogen train is really just the tip of the iceberg. It's one part of a much, much larger national strategy. So let's zoom out for a second and look at the whole shebang.
This right here is the engine driving everything, the National Green Hydrogen Mission. It was launched back in January 2023 by the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. You'll see them called the MNRE. The goal is simple, but it is massive: to make India a world leader in producing, using, and even exporting this incredible clean fuel.
So, you might be asking, why go all in on hydrogen? Well, the goals are pretty transformative. First, it's about seriously cutting down carbon emissions across the economy. Second, it's about reducing the country's huge reliance on importing expensive fossil fuels. And the ultimate endgame? To move India toward true energy independence.
But hang on a second. You keep hearing this term green hydrogen. What does that actually mean? Well, that name is absolutely crucial because it turns out not all hydrogen is created equal. So let's break down how this actually works.
The secret is all in how it's made. Green hydrogen is produced using a process called electrolysis. Now think back to your high school chemistry class. You pass an electric current through water, H2O, and it splits the molecule into hydrogen and oxygen. But here's the key, the part that makes it green. The electricity used for this process has to come from 100% renewable sources, like solar panels or wind turbines.
And the process itself is just beautifully simple and clean. You start with plain old water. You add clean electricity that you got from the sun or the wind, and what do you get? Two things: clean hydrogen fuel and pure oxygen. There are zero carbon emissions anywhere in that chain. It's incredible.
And this is exactly why that distinction is so important. See, most of the hydrogen that's produced in the world today is what's called gray or blue hydrogen, and that stuff is made from fossil fuels, usually natural gas. That process, it releases a ton of carbon. Green hydrogen is the only one that is truly a zero-emission fuel from start to finish.
All right, so now that we know what it is and why it's so special, let's talk about the sheer scale of what India is trying to do here. I mean, the numbers behind this mission are just staggering.
The first major target is all about production. By 2030, the goal is for India to be producing 5 million metric tons of green hydrogen every single year. To give you some perspective, that's enough clean fuel to replace a huge chunk of the natural gas we use today, or power millions of hydrogen-fueled cars and trucks.
Now, you don't hit a target like that without some serious money. The mission is expected to pull in over 8 lakh crore rupees in investment. This huge flood of cash is meant to build the entire system from the ground up, from new solar farms to the factories that build the electrolyzers. It's a massive signal to the world.
And all that investment, well, it translates directly into opportunity for people. The mission is projected to create over 6 lakh new jobs. And we're not just talking about temporary construction gigs. These are high-skill, long-term jobs across the entire green hydrogen industry.
But really, the ultimate payoff here is for the planet. The goal is to cut India's annual greenhouse gas emissions by a whopping 50 million metric tons by 2030. That's roughly the same as yanking over 10 million gasoline-powered cars off the road every single year. That's a huge step in the fight against climate change.
Of course, to make any of this a reality, you need the actual hardware. The plan calls for building out 125 gigawatts of new renewable energy capacity.
That's just to power the hydrogen production. And installing up to 100 gigawatts of those electrolyzers we talked about, the machines that actually split the water.
Okay, this all sounds amazing, right? A perfect solution. But with all of this incredible ambition comes one major challenge. For green hydrogen to truly take over from fossil fuels, it has to be cheap. And right now, it's not.
And this really gets to the heart of the whole challenge, the price tag. Today, making just 1 kilogram of green hydrogen in India costs around 350 rupees. But for it to really compete, the mission's target is to crush that cost down to under 100 rupees. That's a more than 70% price drop. It's going to take some incredible innovation and massive scale to get there.
So the mission is crystal clear, the ambition is off the charts, and the challenges are very, very real. India is placing one of the largest bets in the world on green hydrogen. And the big question that's left is this: will this incredibly bold move actually pay off and redefine the future of clean energy, not just for India, but for the whole world?